Good evening, and welcome to the Boys from the Baltic Star. Um, my name is Ben, and joining me this evening is Ewan. How are you, Ewan?
Hello, Ben. I'm very good, thanks. I'm very good. Slightly perturbed by the last thing we were talking about before we went live and the final paragraph of our last session, but other than that,
Other
very
than
well.
that, well, we are, as far as it goes, relatively healthy at this point.
Mm,
Um, I'm only a couple of points down on my stamina, though I have no provisions at the moment. So, just to bring everyone up to speed, we are playing. This is actually our third session on our replay through the Warlock of Firetop Mountain, which we did as our very first fighting fantasy book, and we lived but did not win, essentially, which is, well, desperately sad, of course. And this time we
too
are.
close to real life.
Yes, it is a bit like the way our lives actually go, yes. So this is, of course, the very first of the Fighting Fantasy game books, the one that birthed an enormous range of these books, a brainchild of Steve Jackson and Ian Livingstone. That's the British Steve Jackson, not the American Steve Jackson, though I would forgive you if you were confused by this. So this is session three. Last time, I have a feeling we managed it in two sessions, so perhaps this is a good sign. Perhaps this implies that we've done more, collected more, or whatever. And we've just got to the point where we've killed a dragon. And that's good, I feel.
Yes, definitely better than the other way around. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a dragon killing spell, so we used it, and the dragon is ended
Mm.
thanks to our brilliance in this regard of having blundered into the right room and got the right book. Because blundering is how we do these things, basically. Yes, it is. It is excellent. Now, apologies if you're tuning in expecting Traveller this evening. The reason for that, the reason we're not doing it, is because our colleague Luke is not available this evening. He's in the process of some chaotic movements, shall we say, in his life. Good ones, but still chaotic. So he will not be joining us this evening, which means no Traveller, because it's kind of important he's there for the TPK that inevitably will come. It wouldn't be fair to do that without him, I feel.
No, or to deprive you of the look of sorrow and despair in his eyes when you kill us all off.
That glorious F's in chat moment would have to be.
Yes, yeah,
He has to be there for the F's in chat, yes. So, well, we actually have very little to talk about in terms of the Warlock of Firetop Mountain because this is session three. We have our characters. We know how well things are going, and we've just defeated a dragon, which is great.
yeah. Mm.
We are at paragraph 371, which says, safe for the moment, you investigate the cavern and find a passageway which continues to the west. Turn to 274. And it then says, you may rest and eat provisions before you continue, and add 3 luck points for defeating the dragon. Now, I think we actually did that last time, but I'm already topped out on luck points.
As am I, so I would assume we did. Yeah.
However, I am going to do something which I can't remember what I did last time or how I did it last time. We are, I think, quite close towards the finale of the adventure. So I am going to quaff both of my potions of fortune.
Ooh.
Not because I need the actual luck points as they are, but because, according to the rules, when you take a potion of fortune, it also increases your actual maximum luck by 1.
Yes, indeed. So
So I will
you're using it as
effectively.
a just a little buff.
Yeah, each of them will therefore, if I cross those out, I will go from my current maximum luck of 9 to a maximum luck of 11
Ooh.
and actually have 11 luck at the moment. I don't know if that will be necessary, but it feels like now is the time.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you didn't do it before the dragon killing incident, then
Yeah,
why not now?
why not now? Since we are safe for the moment, as it says. Okay, so there is a passageway which continues to the west. We will turn to 274. You leave the cavern along a long, narrow corridor. After several hundred metres, it ends at a large wooden door which is slightly ajar. Carefully, you ease it open a little further and poke your head around the side to see what is in the room. You see a small old man sitting at a table on his own, playing with a pack of cards. He looks quite a harmless old soul, grey-haired and bearded. He is seated. What will you do? We can burst through the door, sword drawn, to surprise him. Knock on the door and enter, greeting the old man courteously. Or get down on all fours and try to creep into the room unnoticed.
Ooh.
You see, I feel all of them offer door. So our normal rule that we have to choose the door doesn't
Yeah.
help us here.
No. Are any of them more door than the others?
I suppose the
door
one where we
plus?
knock on the door involves both knocking on the door and then opening the door,
Well, that's true.
whereas the others involve just opening the door. I mean, obviously, the fact that it says he looks quite a harmless old soul implies that he is in fact the Warlock of Firetop Mountain and will kill us the moment we walk in the room.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm torn between trying to creep in and trying to enter courteously.
Yes, I don't think we have anything to go on, do we?
Not really.
Oh, do you want to roll the dice?
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm happy either way. Both are good options.
Okay,
Story-wise.
let's let the dice decide.
Yeah.
1, 2, and 3, we knock on the door and enter, and 4, 5, and 6, we creep in. And that is a 5. So we're going to try and creep inside. That
Cool.
is turn to 98. As you crawl into the room, a voice booms out. "Welcome, adventurer. I've been expecting you." You stop, look around and rise to your feet. The little old man has changed. He's not so old and grey anymore, and he's of an imposing height. His eyes are deep and black, and they are fixed on you relentlessly. Turn to 358. 358. Okie dokie. Right, let me just check that. 358. Yes, there just seemed to be a bit of a narrative disconnect. It says, the battle will call upon all of your reserves of strength and cunning. Your adversary has disappeared and now stands at the far end of the room, in front of a door with 2 locks. How will you approach him? We can grip sword and advance towards him, look through the pack for a weapon to use, or look around the room for another means of attack or defence.
I don't think we've got anything in the pack. I'm going to be honest.
I don't think we have either. Well, nothing unless he happens to be terrified of earrings, for example.
Yes. Yeah.
Or the number 99.
Yeah. or if some other invisible entity slipped something into her pack when we weren't looking. That's going to
Absolutely.
be super helpful right now.
So perhaps looking around the room is possible?
Hmm.
Since it offers us the
Yeah.
choice, maybe that's worth trying.
I think so.
All right, let's have a
Considering
go at
the
that.
other option.
We will look around the room for another means of attack or defence. That is turn to 389. Test your luck. If you're lucky, turn to 289. If you're unlucky, 112. Okay,
Ah.
so we need to find out which of us should test our luck. You are usually odds. I take it you're happy to do that?
I am usually odd, yes. You are correct.
And that is a 4. So I shall test my luck. And
Which is
I
considerably
rolled
better.
a 9, which is comfortably below my new luck of 11,
Mm.
which drops to 10 now. And so we are lucky and turn to 289. You look frantically around the room, but can see nothing to aid you. Suddenly your eyes stop on the pack of cards he was fingering as you entered, and you remember the rumours and stories the villagers told you. The Warlock's power comes from his cards. The sorcerer sees your interest in them, and you both rush for the table. You get there first. "Leave those alone," he screams, "or you risk my fullest wrath." But you move backwards and set fire to one with your lantern. He cries out wildly and then begins to plead with you to leave them alone. One by one you burn the cards, and as you do so the warlock diminishes in stature. As the last card goes up in flames, he stands facing you, a broken man. "My book," he croaks, and he tries to unlock the door on the far side. You race across to him with your sword drawn and spring at him. Resolve this battle. The warlock has skill 7, stamina 12.
Ooh.
I just want to check something before we do the fight, though, because it was 112, wasn't it, if we were unlucky? I wonder if his
Yes.
stats are very
You
different.
interested in what? Yeah.
Go to one. That's 142. So what would it have been like if we'd been unlucky? Skill 11, stamina 18.
Mm.
So skill 7, stamina 12 is better.
Yes, considerably
Yeah, that's a
better.
very, very much different foe. Okay, so he is skill 7, stamina 12. Okay, the two of us can attack. I rolled a 5 plus 10 is 15.
Mine is a 7 plus 12 at the minute for a 19.
Excellent. And he has rolled an 8 plus 7 is 15. So he's equalled me and lost to you. So he is down to 10 points of stamina. Okay, round 2.
Ew.
I have
Well,
rolled a
less.
6. I'm not rolling well this evening. This is not going to be good. So that's a total of 13 for him. Sorry, it's a total of 16 for me.
Yeah. Mine too was a 6, by the way, for an 18.
18, okay. And he has rolled a 7 for a total of 14, which means he has done slightly better than me and not as well as you. So he's taken a hit, again, from you, but we need to work out which of us he went for. And it's a 1, so he went for you. So I'm uninjured. So he is down to stamina 8. We roll again. Okay, this time I did a 10 for a total of 20.
You're not going to believe it, Ben. I rolled a 10 as well. That's a lot of matches.
That means we don't have to roll for him because he's down to stamina 4.
Ooh,
And
let's keep those ones.
I've rolled a 5 for me.
Mine is a 9.
So mine total is 15. And he has rolled a 7 for a total of 14, which means he's taken a hit from both of us, despite my lousy roll, which means he is done. So,
Very nice.
we turn to 396.
I'm beginning to think that Lee's premonition of a death-defying jaunt to Firetop Mountain may be coming true at this rate.
Okay. Yes, I mean it's certainly possible.
It's not a given, but
Yeah. I mean, let's be hopeful rather than optimistic. It says, with the Warlock now defeated, you know your quest is almost over. You approach the door with 2 locks. There are no keys around. You retrieve 2 keys from your pack and try them in the locks. They turn. You open the door and peer around. Turn to 242. If you have no keys, you may try to break down the door, and it will do this at the cost of almost all your stamina. Reduce your stamina by 5 and enter the room. But either way, we turn to 242. Okay?
Yep.
Now, how bad would it be if those are the 2... That's the moment we need 2 keys, and next time we need 3.
Yes, seeing as we have 2 keys, that would be not ideal.
So, 242. The door opens to reveal a small, dimly lit room. The walls are hung with ornate curtains, laced in silver and gold. A single flame burns in one corner, throwing light on a low table in the middle of the floor. On this table is a large chest. You step up to investigate the chest, and from all around, yet from nowhere, a mysterious sound fills the room. It sounds like the rumbling of thunderclouds preparing to make storm. You approach the chest and can see that it is held shut by 3 locks.
Stupid villagers.
As you approach, the noise gets louder. Will you hack at the box with your sword to try to split it open? Or search through your bags to see if you can find keys to fit? Well, we have 2 keys.
Yes.
So I'm pretty sure we don't. Let's see what it says at 139, just in case there's a get out clause or something. But I think we're going to have to hack at it with a sword.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Okay, yes, we definitely need 3 keys. So we can hack at it, hack at the box with the sword to try to split it open. We turn to 379. As you prepare to strike the box, the rumbling sound gets louder. You lift your sword high and prepare to strike. As your blade comes down on the box, a loud crack deafens you, and from one corner of the room, a small bolt of lightning darts through the air to the sword hilt, sending you reeling across the room. Test your luck. If you're lucky, your sword has shattered and lies on the floor. Yeah, it does sound lucky. But you managed to release your grip just before the lightning struck. If you're unlucky, your charred remains have formed a small black outline on the floor. Next time, do not try to strike the chest. If you are lucky, you may try to use the key from your rucksack. Turn to 139. Okay, let's find out which of us is testing luck.
Yeah.
That's a 2, so it's me.
Oh, that's good. That's what we like. Ben is much luckier than I.
Well, yes, historically. And that's a 9, again, for testing luck.
Oh,
Which means I'm down
close.
to 9 luck, but I'm
We
still
are lucky.
alive. So we turn to 139, which I'm pretty sure is where we'd have ended up if we just tried the thing anyway.
Yeah.
139. Okay. During your adventure, you will have come across various keys and should have collected some of these. You may now use 3 of these keys to try to open the locks on the chest. Each key is identified with a number. To determine whether you have the right keys, add their 3 numbers together. Now turn to the section which has the same number as this total, where you will discover whether you have used the correct keys. If you do not have 3 numbered keys, this is the end of your journey. You sit on the chest and weep as you realise that you will have to explore the mountain once more in order to find the keys. We have 2 keys.
We do indeed.
They add up to a total of 210. And just to confirm that this is, my maths is right, if you turn to 210, just out of pure fluke, what you get is, shortly along the passage, you arrive at another junction where you might either go straight ahead or northwards. In other words, clearly, you do
That is
need
not where
3
you're meant to
keys.
be.
The only thing I can say with confidence is that whatever the other key points us to, it is definitely higher than 210.
Yes.
Because that's what the 2 keys we have add up to.
Mm.
Right.
I'm interested to know is whether there's more than 3 numbered keys. Because otherwise, I mean, I guess you could still do the add them up and go to that passage. But it implies to me, or I suppose I infer from that there's a fake key maybe that sends you to another passage that says the box doesn't open.
There could be.
Something's good.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there is, but that's what I would gain from that information or that passage.
I mean, I can guess that the actual 3rd key is numbered 190. And the reason I think this is true is because when you turn to 400, which is the last actual numbered paragraph,
Yes, indeed.
it shows a picture of an open chest and says the Warlock of Firetop Mountain is no more, and you are now the owner of the Sorcerer's Riches. At least 1,000 gold pieces ... are in the chest. So in essence, if there might be an interim paragraph that says the chest creaks open and turn to 400, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if it just takes you straight to that paragraph.
Yeah.
But we did not complete it again.
No. And what we've learned is don't trust villagers because
Do not trust villagers.
they.
Unless, of course, they meant that you needed those 2 keys for the door.
Maybe. I would still trust them on the misinformation that we got about the ferryman and needing a gold piece, and actually we needed something like 5.
Yeah.
I could say, okay, that's on the ferryman. That's his.
Yeah.
He was trying to fleece us, not them giving us misinformation. But 3 keys instead of 2.
Yes.
Although you are right, the door did need 2.
And didn't the actual sign at the river say you needed 2 gold pieces?
Yeah. Yes, that's true.
And then the ferryman tried to sort of get 5 out of us.
Mm-hmm.
Which tells me something very important about the villagers, that not only did they not know the answer, they also couldn't read.
Yes, I mean, it's really weird because presumably they've got this information from adventurers returning from Firetop Mountain, but why would they? Surely they'd either die or come back with loads of treasure. and then the information would be pointless.
Yes.
So maybe that was something we were meant to think about before we took their information at face value. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it is an issue, isn't it? That among the former adventurers who could have come back to bring them information is us. So maybe it's our fault. We got drunk
Yeah, that's
off when
true.
we got back and just blurted out random information, which we then
Mm.
picked up next time round, and it turns out we couldn't remember.
Well, yeah, maybe we just remembered the information that they told us in the first place, and so we regurgitated that to them,
Yeah.
thinking that it was the truth. And in fact, it's not the truth. It's the information that
Yes.
they told us that was wrong.
Yeah, it's possible we just fell for it again.
Yeah, yeah. But we survived.
Again, yes,
Importantly,
we did survive again.
we did get some gold pieces, didn't we? Did we get
Yeah,
12 gold pieces, something along
yeah,
those lines?
I've got about 13, I think. Gold. Yeah, 13 at the moment.
Yeah.
Um, and and to be fair, when we went, if we went back in next time, I mean, I'm sure you're not supposed to do this, but we could go to places we didn't go and already have 2 keys.
Oh well, yeah, that's true. We're not going to leave them, are we?
No, and
Yeah.
or put them back where they were.
Yes, for the next poor soul.
And then, of course, we could claim not only that, we've already killed this guy, we've already killed that guy, we could just waltz straight through to the end.
Yeah.
Step
We
over the
sort of
dead
know
dragon.
the maze. Yeah, the dragon's down.
Ignore the warlock, who is no more. And
Mm.
so all we'd have to do is actually, we wouldn't have to start again, we just have to go back, picking our way through the adventure until we find the third key and then come back again. So, it's not actually impossible if you did it that way.
Mm.
You just have to sort of game it quite carefully because obviously the book isn't necessarily geared up for that.
Yes, yeah, definitely. But no, it could work. I mean, in theory, we've got all the information, so we would just need to find. We just need to visit the rooms that we didn't visit, basically, or the places that we didn't go, and find a third key,
That's right.
and then map it out to get all 3 keys,
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I think
and then not die.
not dying is
Just
probably important.
keep
Yes.
farming it till we get a good run.
Yes. Yeah. The other thing, of course, we could have done is watched back our last go, and rather than try to remember what we'd done last time,
That is true.
and
That is
actually
very true.
learnt where the keys were and how you get them and what's worth doing and what isn't, and then have
Yeah.
flown through the bits that we had to do again, and at the same time go to places we hadn't been before and see if we couldn't work it out.
Yeah.
We could probably have done that. Because I seem to remember, for example, we did the maze a lot better this time.
Yes, I was going to say actually when you introed that we've done it in 3 sessions, which feels like longer, but I'm sure the maze we fell unconscious and woke up a lot.
Yes.
In different places and had no idea where we were. I think that took a large
can't remember
portion.
how many times, but I do remember reading over and over again with kind of a groan. Yes, you fall unconscious and you wake up, yada, yada, yada. Sometimes at a place we'd already done that before and sometimes at a different place. But it was always, oh, God, we've got to pick our way back through again. And this time, I think it only happened to us once, maybe twice.
Yes, yeah, no, definitely. Yeah.
And if I remember also, if you sort of took the warning of the people who give you the fragment of map or whatever, if you use their map, which tells you to stay away from the dangerous thing in that door to the north of the maze, which turned out to be a minotaur. But I think if you didn't go into that room, you didn't get one of the keys.
Ah,
So it's all very well
interesting.
saying, avoid the dangerous things, but actually, if you avoid the dangerous things, you don't get to the win at the end.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which I
Yes.
guess makes sense.
Ah, well. Still, I genuinely can see how this became such a hit when it came out. And you understand, I played it at least once. I can't remember if I ever got the win, you understand. But I
Mm.
played it at least once when it first came out in 1982. And since then, I've played it now twice more over the last couple of years. And it was definitely a good one. Definitely. I can see why
Yeah,
they
for
became such
sure.
a hit.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's got a nice run through it. I think realistically, the maze is the only truly frustrating
Hmm.
bit I found, and that's okay to have. Something like that as a one-off. Certainly, you wouldn't want it all the way through the book, but to have a little bit of something that is slightly more testing makes it quite interesting. I think.
Yes, and certainly they didn't do that again. At least not in the ones we've tried. Not something
Yeah, that's
quite
true.
so tricky.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, and again, it's a fun exercise, and I don't know whether it would have been better. I don't know actually, to be fair, but it's a fun exercise in mapping it out and trying to fit those sections of the map into where you wake up and getting back to a number. It's just an interesting thing to plot out and yeah, slot together. I think, but I wouldn't want to do it all the way through a book.
no,
Probably not in any of the other books either.
no. I mean, it is the least fun part of the book. Put it that way.
Mm,
Um, it's not it's not impossible, but it is awkward and
yeah, 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 definitely.
less fun. But it isn't evil or anything. It's just not as much fun as you might like to think.
Yeah, and it's certainly not as annoying as any of the insta death things I think that we've come across, where we make a bad decision and decide not to turn back when it gives us the chance, and then all of a sudden our adventure is over.
Yes.
They feel a little bit more frustrating than waking up. At least this gives you the opportunity to find your way back to where you were.
Yeah.
I suppose mechanically speaking.
Yes, definitely.
Mm.
Um, right, that's interesting. Okay, so I've just been flicking through and I found a picture in there of a key. So that was a golden key, which is not one we've seen before. I have no idea where it is in the dungeon, you understand.
Yeah.
But it tells me that it has the number 125 inscribed on it. So
Mm.
since we know that 210 was our first two keys, I'm curious what happens if we turn to 335. Is that in fact a real answer or is that a fake key, as you say?
Mm. All the preludes to the 400.
Yes. 335, it says turn to 182. Okay. Okay. That would have said two of the keys fit the locks perfectly, the other doesn't. You leap to one side as a jet of clear liquid spurts from the chest. It just misses, but you lose 2 stamina points as the liquid emits an acidic vapour which makes you cough and choke. And you can return to the chest and try another combination of 3 keys. Add the key totals and turn to that section. So,
Ah,
In other words,
which is why it just said turn to
yeah,
that paragraph, is because there's numerous ones of those, presumably.
yeah. So there are, in fact, at least 4 numbered keys.
Mm,
Um, and we clearly don't know if the bronze key or the red key, the ones we had, are actually authentic. Because it could be that the gold key with 125 on it is, in fact, one of the
yes,
real ones.
that's true.
And one of the ones we got was a fake.
Yeah.
So it's all very well saying, oh yes, we got 2 of the 3 keys. Actually, there
Did
might be
we?
5 keys, and one of the
Mm,
ones we got was fake.
which adds a whole new level, I suppose, to the number of times you'd have to play through it to
Yeah. So it's actually
work it
even
out.
more devious than I thought. I think at the
Mm,
back of my mind I'd assumed there were 3 keys. But it turns
especially if
out
there's
that's
a
not true.
no, yeah, yeah, especially if there's a fork in the path
Yeah.
and you've got one key one way and a real key one way and a fake key the other way,
Yes.
then
I'm
you really have to play through it.
I'm wondering if effectively there is only one possible way through the whole dungeon. You know, you literally have to work out that you've got to go right here and then backtrack there and then go left there and then cross over that, and
Mm,
you know, an incredibly convoluted route in order to get all of the keys you need. And it might well be that actually there's a route that gets you that, and if you take that route it completely avoids all the fake keys, so you never end up with 4 keys, say.
yeah, maybe.
Maybe. So yes, I'm genuinely impressed by the quality of the engineering of the game, to be honest. Um,
Yeah, it feels like there's a lot of levels to what's going on.
yes, yes. Now, I should point out actually before we finish, not only, I mean, this is actually a 1982 original edition one from my youth, and this is literally the only dates other than the copyrights and illustration copyrights are first published 1982. So this is literally the first printing of it. But you know, not even a second impression or anything.
Mm,
But they still, this book is still in print under a new cover, under their new cover design, and you can still get it along with quite a few of the classic fighting fantasy books. But if you're not particularly into the books, you can also get several of these books, including this one, I believe, as a kind of text adventure on Steam.
yes.
They can be downloaded as a playthrough game on Steam, with illustrations, and I haven't actually tried one, so I don't know exactly what they're like. But it actually has the text available as a thing. So so whether you're into a physical book or an ebook or a Steam game version of it, it is still available if you are interested in playing it. You don't have to hunt through obscure sellers in second-hand bookshops looking for the part of the building that isn't cursed by goblins in order to find it covered in dust in some long forgotten shelf. You actually can download it on the internet and play it from there.
And I assume you don't even need real dice if you happen to live in a weird alternate universe where dice don't exist.
I assume actually you're right. The Steam version probably does the rolling for you. It might even auto
Yeah.
generate your characters, which would be weird for us if we played it through. If it tried to auto generate the character, we wouldn't be able to have 2 characters and modify the stats the
Mm,
way we do.
yes. Yeah. Presumably they don't do Ben's homebrew multiplayer
I,
rules,
I don't
which
think
I'm a big fan of, and I think they should if they if
I
they don't.
I think it's fun to do it that way,
Mm,
but Yes, I'm not sure they would have that built in. No, which is obviously a shame and obviously terrible. But at some point, I think you and I should at least try one of those Steam versions of one of the books.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah, yeah,
there's one we haven't played on Steam, but if not, we can always do a replay, but do it with the Steam version,
yeah,
just to see how they work, because they may offer a slightly different version of things.
yeah. I think it'd be interesting, definitely, definitely, because we could just make joint decisions or alternating decisions or
Absolutely, yeah.
some other form of playing through it with one character between the two of us.
It's it is after all, a game. You
Yeah,
there are rules, but they're not supposed to get in the way of you having fun.
no, they're more like guidelines,
Yes, they are indeed.
apparently.
Yes, it's not an absolute law, and if it was an
Hmm.
absolute law, then we probably would break it anyway. Well, because there's much more fun to be had other ways.
Yeah,
Right. So thank
sure.
you, Ewan, and
I know. Thank you, Ben, as
and
always.
and thank you for going through Warlock with me. Now, I must confess, having just done our first replay of one of these, I am quite tempted to have a go at Scorpion Swamp again now that we've forgotten it, to see if we can get lucky enough to get through in one go again without the
Ooh,
mistake at the beginning.
yeah, that would be interesting. Definitely.
Because for those who aren't aware, because we do talk about this quite a lot, we have subsequently completed one of these Choose Your Fate books. It was Blood Feud of Alpheus that we completed successfully. But before that, the closest we ever came was a book called Scorpion Swamp. And in that game, what we did was to die really early,
Mm.
which doesn't sound as successful as I'm going to relate. But the point is, we then decided we died so early that we'd literally go back a paragraph and then try again from, just making one change decision. And wouldn't you know it, we went on to actually win, which was particularly annoying for us because at that time and for a very long time afterwards, it was the only one we'd ever seen the sort of the win screen for the game, and yet we hadn't actually won because we died really early. Now it's a while since we played that book, and I suspect we can't remember all that much about it. But I am very tempted to think maybe we should have another go at that and see if we make the same kind of choices we did. Maybe we'll get lucky enough to avoid that horrible mistake we made at the beginning and still carry it through to victory. I think it's not impossible.
Yeah, no, definitely. From what I remember, it was ridiculously early on. Like it was something like the third section of the map that we got to, and we
Yeah.
ignored a warning. Are you sure you want to do this? And we were like, yeah, of course we
Yeah,
do. And
that's right. Were you not listening? We have made our decision.
yeah, yeah, and it ended poorly. So we took it back one decision and either went the other way or made the other decision, and then proceeded to go to the end of the book and win, but not really win because you can't really count it, can you?
No, tragically, it does not count if you die. But on the other hand, you know, we've died at the end of books multiple times, and occasionally a bit of the way into a book.
Yeah.
And there was, of course, Trial of Champions, where we just died of being cowardly, apparently.
Yes, that was painful.
Yeah.
Not only did we die, but the book called us cowards in the act of
Yes.
killing us. Yeah.
Yes. The 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 thing did, I didn't feel there was enough of a warning because I think we were trying to be clever, weren't we?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Were we blindfolded
Yes.
and swinging swords around, and we decided to lay down and
Yeah.
try and let the other people kill each other?
Yes. And then we were basically shot full of arrows or something by the people on the walls because
Yeah.
we were too cowardly to win. Yeah,
Yes, exactly.
which is well, it's horrible, frankly, to die of cowardice like that.
Yeah, precisely. Especially by people who are blindfolding people and making them fight to the death with swords. It feels like the last of the people that you want to be called a coward by.
Yes, among the people you don't want to be
Oh,
called.
yes, yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I suppose it could be worse, as they say, but not by much.
Mm, no, probably not.
Yes. Okay. So I think we will probably have to call it there because yes, Crit. I'm afraid the reason it was short was because this was the third session of Warlock of Firetop Mountain, the replay, and we sort of stopped after session 2 quite close to the end. Now, we did not, in fact, succeed. I'm going to just put that out there now. And we've since done a little bit of research by checking out a couple of things about the keys that you need at the end. And it turns out we don't even know by how much we didn't succeed. We thought we might
Yes.
be sort of 2/3 of the way there, but it turns out it could easily, I mean, very, very easily be much worse than that. So we effectively we ran out of book before there was an actual conclusion for us. So it was just it ended on one of those paragraphs that kind of peters out and says, I'm afraid you'll have to try again in order to beat the Firetop Mountain dungeon kind of thing. And so tragically, the two keys we had were one key short, but we don't even know if those keys were authentic because we've now proven there are such things as inauthentic keys.
Yeah.
So we don't even know how close we got really to getting everything we needed. But we did make it all the way to the end and the chest and beat the Warlock. We just didn't have the right keys at the end. Not enough of them, and quite possibly not the right ones. So, sadly, that is, what went wrong. Which is, well, it's a desperate shame, of course, but at the same time, it's life. Which is, just the way of the world, I guess.
Yeah, and we did come out with some gold, and I'm sure there was some other stuff. A couple of keys,
Yep.
and a better sword. Didn't you get a better sword? So
Yes, though to be fair, it did then shatter.
Oh yes, of course.
So yes, it was an excellent sword, and then it shattered when we got hit by a lightning bolt kind of thing.
Yes. Yeah.
For fairly obvious reasons, I think. Yeah, I mean, I wish the world was simpler or at least more obvious for us. But yes, we didn't do well enough, I'm afraid.
No.
We, it was still the best we could do, wasn't it? It was our best effort. For all of its faults, it was at least as successful as our last one.
Yeah, that is very true. That is very true. Certainly was. We certainly didn't do any worse, which is okay, I suppose. Yeah.
Yes, yes, that is the thing. I think. Um, yeah. So I was wondering whether or not, since we are sort of wrapping up early, I've been sort of taking a look to see if any of our sort of regular online pals are streaming at the moment.
Oh, are you going to say what I think you're going to say, Ben?
Yeah, but I was thinking about it. Yeah,
Ooh.
and I can't see any of them up and running at all.
Ah.
However, looking through the list, it does appear that the um, it's hard to tell exactly because some of them are clearly in foreign languages, which might not suit everyone.
Yep.
But we do seem to have a a North American stream up called Die or Consequences, which I know nothing about apart from the fact they seem to have a map up and they are doing dicing, possibly D&D. I'm not absolutely certain about that by any means. So if nobody has to stick around and enjoy it if they don't enjoy what's happening there, but I think it's worth trying a little raid and seeing if it happens. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I like it.
All right, then we will give it a shot. Um, um, we will try this, and hopefully, okay, the raid has been created. Okay, so thank you very much for joining us, and catch you tomorrow evening about 11.
Good night.
Okay, in theory, that should have raided us through, and then all I have to do is stop